Backlash from this reaction is going to be so bad I'm going to need to do an Origin of Symmetry reaction. I don't think so. I feel like anybody who's reasonable is going to hear me, like, explaining myself and is going to understand. Listen. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new Muse album over here, the Wow Signal. You're going to have to ignore me being shiny and my hair looking how my hair looks. It's taking the piss how hot it is here, man. It's so fucking hot. It's been reaching like 38 degrees this week. I've been wanting to die, okay? So any of me looking disheveled, any of me looking like I'm a crack addict, ignore it, okay? It's just fucking boiling and I'm suffering. Another quick thing I want to add before we get into this video is that throughout this, there is a lot of discussion about like differing opinions and about kind of how people respond to differing opinions. I want to go into this video making it very clear that I do not consider myself a critic at all. I consider myself someone who loves talking about music, who can talk about music critically, but I am not a critic. I am here stating my opinion, wanting to get yours in return to create dialogue about the music. I'm not trying to convince anyone who doesn't like this album that they're wrong. I'm not trying to convince anyone who likes this album that they're wrong. I'm not trying to pull anyone over to my side. I'm not trying to say that I have the definitive opinion on the album. I just want there to be lively discussion about music when it releases, especially with bigger albums like this. You know, Muse are a band that's very divisive. Muse are a band that pull a lot of very differing opinions. And I don't know. I'm just trying to spark the flame of discussion with this video, not convince anyone that their opinions, whether they love the album, whether they hate the album, whether they're somewhere in the middle, that they are wrong. So please go into this video understanding that my opinion is not the right opinion, it's just my opinion, and I want to hear yours in the comments as well. Yeah, this album came out yesterday. I wasn't able to stream yesterday. I had some shit going on, but we're here today to listen to the album. I've heard one other Muse album, and that was Origin of Symmetry, and that actually is an album that I surprisingly really enjoy. I'm not a big Muse fan at all. I think that a lot of the Muse stuff that I have heard... Well, technically I've kind of heard Will of the People back when it came out, and He Who Shall Not Be Named was streaming that shit. I technically listened to that album on that stream, and I thought what I heard on there was terrible. But the only album I've listened to in my own time is Origin of Symmetry. And it's one that I want to go back to because it's been a long time since I've listened to it. But I did really enjoy that album. There's some absolute fucking heaters on there, particularly a song like Plug In Baby that I think is fucking incredible. This album is a very interesting one because as we can see here, the reception of this thing is overwhelmingly positive. It's up in like the high 70s. People are actually genuinely enjoying this project, which coming off of Will of the People, which is set down in, you know, the low 40s, that's very surprising. This is a big glow up from Will of the People, apparently. I only listened to one of the singles. I listened to Cryogen, which I thought that song was fine. I thought it was a decent enough bit of alternative and space rock. Maybe a little bit overproduced, but honestly, I thought it was a massive step up from the more recent stuff I've heard preceding this album's release cycle. So I'm going into this one with high enough hopes. I'm hoping that I don't expect to love this album, if I'm being honest. I'm just hoping to pull some songs that I really enjoy out of it. Likely not think it's incredible on the whole, but as long as I get a handful of tracks that I do really enjoy out of this, that'll be fine. Absolution reaction was just about how Matt Bellamy used to be a conspiracy theorist. Wasn't it like he was a 9/11 truther, or was it flat earther? It was either 9/11 truther or flat earther, and I think it was 9/11 truther. That's crazy, man. Fucking a Muse album being built off of like conspiracy theories and shit didn't make him a better writer. The writing was still ass. Doubt flat earther he wouldn't go that far. It might be just because I was just watching that fucking ARTV video and I think he said like one of the members of Deftones is like a flat earther or something, which is hilarious. Like I said, this is a 10-track 45-minute album, came out literally yesterday as of when I'm filming this. Lego track 1, The Dark Forest. Time to listen to Chad album for true Chad fans. Exactly. Pulling Genius up for this shit. An issue I have with Muse is that this dude's inflections always sound like he's commanding a theater performance. Yeah. At least they're not doing outright pop albums anymore. Half of Simulation Theory is pretty rough to get through when you know Muse more as alt rock and space rock. Yeah. We have a Ghost at Home. Yeah. The song feels like it doesn't do enough while simultaneously feeling like it's doing way too much. I partially agree. I do think that this track has moments where I can actually kind of feel the tensity. I can kind of feel the epicness that they want to portray, and it does actually kind of have that like insane sense of scale. But there are other moments where I just am sat here rolling my eyes, if I'm being honest. When it goes into, like, the fucking Latin breakdown towards the end there, the imagery of, like, this higher life form coming and taking over the world, and it being kind of a little vague as to what specifically that is. I know the song's called The Dark Forest, and the Dark Forest theory implies, like, a higher alien civilization. But it feels like specifically, like the song itself does not point in any one given direction. Lyrically, I'm a little unimpressed. Structurally, this track didn't do much to pull me in, but there are a couple of moments that do legitimately kind of feel like they are reaching exactly what the band wanted this to be. I would give this track a solid 5. It's okay. Nightshift Superstar. Up next.
My skin, I drown within silver sweat you shine. Now I can't stay clean. You're my darkest dream.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It does literally feel like Muse doing Justice, yeah. What the fuck is this?
Superstar.
Here is a good question. Why listen to Muse if you don't like them? I never said I don't like them. I don't listen to Muse, but I have enjoyed them in the past. I think Origin of Symmetry is it's the only full album I've listened to from them. That album's excellent. I'm listening to this album because I'm interested, and I want to give the full thing a shot. To simply say that someone shouldn't listen to an album simply because they're not a fan of the band seems a little disingenuous. I enjoyed the first single. I want to give this thing a shot, and I think it would be unfair for me to just say, I've not liked Muse's recent stuff, so that means I can't listen to this because it may upset some fans. I'm going to listen to the album regardless. It's a project I'm interested in, and despite the fact that this song is kind of sucking asshole right now, I'm still willing to give the album a chance. Like, I don't think that this track is the be-all, end-all of the project, you know? Oh, fuck off. I didn't say they need to go back to Origin of Symmetry. I never said that. I said I enjoyed that album, and I know the band are capable of making good music, so I want to give them a chance. I'm not saying that them expanding their sound is a bad thing. I want them to evolve, but this feels like they've regressed from that point. Like, they've changed their sound, but not in a way that feels, like, tasteful or like it's an authentic representation. Like, Muse doing a disco-inspired track, I'm fine with that. Honestly, with their, like, space rock influences, with their electronic influences, Muse doing a disco-influenced track, I'm like, you know what? There is a reality where that could be really good. I think that the choices here are just so goofy. Like, the random breakdowns, the super distorted bass that feels like it's trying to get a more, like, slap bassy sound while still being very distorted and heavy because they need to capture that rock spirit, man. They need to capture that rock spirit. The fucking aggravating vocal melodies, man. I can't really get behind this. Again, my problem is not that this is a different album to Origin of Symmetry. I don't want another Origin of Symmetry because that album exists over there. I can go listen to that album already. I don't want another one because there's already one over there. I want them to make something different, but I want the thing that they make different to be done in a way that's a little more tasteful than this, that's a little more interesting than this, that doesn't feel quite as gimmicky as this. I fucking hate the defense of, like, wait, you liked this album, but you don't like this album, that means you must only want them to make this album over and over again, and that's your problem with this. No, that isn't what I'm saying. How's this any worse than Panic Station or Supermassive Black Holes? Feels like a combination of both. Just because something is similar to other things doesn't make it of the same level of quality. I think that the execution here is tacky as fuck. It's not down to what does the song sound like, it's what is the song itself. The song itself, to me, again, none of these reviews are objective. I'm guessing you like this album. That's good. I'm glad you like this. I'm very glad you like this. I hear this and I think, well, to me it sounds like it's Muse doing a gimmick. It sounds like Muse kind of being like, hey, this is unexpected. We're doing disco, huh? And that's how it reads to me. To other people, they're going to hear that and they're going to be surprised in a good way. I hear that and I'm surprised in a way where I'm like, this is just kind of corny and gimmicky to me. I'm feeling a 3 on this song, a flat 3. Shimmering Scars up next. So that is a song title. Wow, Shimmering Scars.
You say you're with me, then goes right through me.
What song titles did I expect from an album called The Wow Signal? I mean, Shimmering Scars is just it's a bit too on the nose.
Stonewall silence, I beg for guidance. All I ever dreamed of is set to
It sounds very outdated, yeah. It sound outdated is a shallow criticism that means nothing. I guess if I were to word that better, I feel like it's trying to tap into a trend that feels like it's kind of run its course, and it's doing it in a way that doesn't feel like it's adding anything to it. Like this type of balladry, it just doesn't hold up anymore, and I think that, again, the song isn't adding anything onto that to make it feel like it is necessary, you know? It wasn't as bad as the last track. I'm feeling a high 4 on this one. It's just kind of a flat ballad that feels like it's chasing a trend and a sound that's just long gone at this point, and it doesn't bring anything else to the table to make it feel like it warrants going for that sound. The explosive moments on this track have a couple of points where I feel like they do hit the mark on putting across the level of emotion that I feel like it needs to, but besides that, I really did not pull much out of this track. I felt like for the most part a lot of it was just hitting me and then bouncing right off. I just didn't really feel like this track was able to fully lock in on immersing me in the desperation and the loneliness that this track is trying to convey. Yeah, I'm not hating this album. I'm really not. I feel like there's actually a lot here to admire. Even on the last track that I fucking hated, I think that this album is at the bare minimum, like, taking swings that I respect. And I can see how fans are enjoying this. I get the appeal. I get it. Like, I can absolutely see how this is clicking with people. It's just, for me, I feel like it's just, despite the fact that it's taking brave enough swings, I feel like it could be adding things on top of them kind of going for a bunch of different sounds. It could at the bare minimum try and elevate those sounds to a place where it feels like they're actually bringing something new. That's my main problem with this, is I just feel like I've heard this shit elsewhere already, you know? I also have Cryogen. Let's see if it's grown on me for album context. Oh yeah, it sounds exactly like Plugin Baby. I forgot about that. That's a terrible fucking build-up. Yeah, it'd be fun to see him just make like a straightforward banger rock album, you know? Now it's Plug-in Man. True. Don't search up Plug-in Man. That's some good advice. This is what I'm talking about right here. This is fun, dynamic riffing, creative guitar tones, weird synth sounds, excellent, chunky, thick bass, and Matt Bellamy feeling like he's doing all of this, like, all over the place vocals, going way up into his higher registry and then coming right back down out of complete nowhere. And it all feels like it's actually additive to a state of emotional disarray on this track. Everything feels like it's coming together to actually create a sense of chaos on this song, and it works. This is so much better in album context. This song fucking slaps. Like a couple of moments that are a little corny, like that build up at the beginning is kind of dog shit if I'm being honest, but besides that, this is great.
Loneliness, she left me trembling in a polar desert.
I don't love the writing on the chorus. That's one thing I will say. I saw earlier the top review on this shit is this. This is what Imagine Dragons think they sound like. Normally, I would roll my eyes at a review like this and be like, oh, comparing some like grand stadium-filling rock music to Imagine Dragons, saying like, this is what the band wish they were. This is the one time I read something like this, I'm like, yeah, this genuinely actually is what Imagine Dragons think they sound like. This song in particular, I could not agree more with this review than with this song in particular. Like, it's got the very somber vocal melody, it's got the crazy layering. It's got like the quiet, loud structure, the amount of restraint being shown on this go around the chorus here. The fuck is this? That was fucking terrible. Wow. That's like the worst way you could physically end that song possible. Why? We don't need an extra minute of runtime just for you to, like, not even do anything cool or interesting. It was just like the most basic riffing, the flattest sounding drums, a cymbal with no resonance to give it any sense of drive or like, I guess like a continuing sense of momentum. That was actually like so track destroying. I cannot believe they ended the song like that. That was actually like fucking horrible and maybe the worst moment on the album so far. Why did they end the song like that? I forgot about that. I've already listened to this song once and I forgot that happened. That was horrible. Wow. I'm feeling like a high 6 on this. A couple of corny moments and an absolutely horrible final minute aren't enough to take away from what is easily the strongest track so far. An excellent chorus, great vocal melody from Matt Bellamy here. It feels like the band, for the first time on the album, have such a locked-in sense of chemistry, and they are able to create that sense of chaos needed to portray the emotional disarray that Matt Bellamy is in on this track. I don't love the writing. I do not love a lot of the... Well, not a lot of... I do not love a handful of instrumental moments here. I do not like the final minute of this track. But when this song shows you what it has to offer, and it actually puts it across in a way that feels mature and tasteful, it goes just as hard as any of the tracks I love off of an album like Origin of Symmetry. It's a breakdown for live shows, don't read too much into it. Yeah, but they can always just extend the song in the live show. Why does it need to be on the album? Like that, this feels like a live show thing. This on the album just feels indulgent. It doesn't need to be here. It completely kills the flow of this track. I have no fucking clue why that's included here. Like, obviously, this is a track that you're going to, like, expand upon instrumentally live. I don't know why we need to do that on the album, though. It's such a goofy choice. It's so bizarre. Anyway, up next we have Be With You. After 5 seconds of silence, of course.
It seems my light's been swallowed up. It can't just be with anyone. It's got to be with you. Against the dark.
No. They released this as a single? What rating does this shit have? On Album of the Year, it's got a 72 in the track list. What rating does it have as a single? This was the lead single? This was the fucking lead single? This came out before Cryogen. In what fucking universe do you A, put this on the album, B, release it as your lead single? It was the second single? Wait, what? Oh shit, no, you're right. Unraveling's here. Sorry, it just said 2025 under Unravelling. Wait, holy shit, that shit came out in August of last year. They've been promoting this album for over a year. Well, almost a year, I guess. Yeah, this sounds fucking horrendous. Wait, they released 6 songs off of this album as a single? Look at this. Unravelling, Be With You, Cryogen, Hexagons, Nightshift Superstar and Hush. They released 6 out of the 10 tracks as singles. Why is over half of the album like being released beforehand? You think this was written even before Unravelling, so I think he was still transitioning from that Will of the People era? I see. We need to stop the trend of releasing half our fucking album as singles before the project comes out. Like, listen, this is my first time hearing every single one of these songs besides Cryogen, so like for me the experience isn't being tainted, I suppose, but like, give your fans something to chew on when the album comes out, man. Oh, Hush was released on either the same day or after the album. Let me see here. Hush was a same day single, really. Okay. They released half the track list before the album then still. I fucking hate when artists do that, man.
It's got to be with you.
Feeling like a solid 1 on that. That is fucking horrendous. That is like one of the worst blending of like electronics and like heavier rock music and balladry ever. Yeah, there's literally no ideas on this track. It's literally just them being like, what if we make something that starts off really slow and moody, feeling like a spotlight in the middle of the rain, and then we just make it go big and loud out of nowhere. And that's the entire idea for the song. Fucking hell, man. I would like to provide a counter-argument to this track, mostly because I want a palate cleanser. This is a good song right here. Fucking amazing riff immediately. Excellent production. Well balanced. It's not too over the top. The electronics feel tasteful. They match everything, all of the aesthetic here perfectly. Matt Bellamy showing some subtlety in this vocal performance. Chat, this band used to have a thing called subtlety. You guys familiar with the term subtlety? Because Muse clearly fucking aren't anymore. Jesus Christ. I literally just put on Plugin Baby, man, so I can compare, like, what a well-balanced track that actually has an understanding of subtlety, how to make the electronics match the aesthetic that you're going for perfectly. Matt Bellamy giving a great, more low-key vocal performance, the riffing being as interesting as it is, this production being as perfect and well-balanced as it is. Everything here, man. This is just like a chef's kiss, high 9 to a genuine 10 out of 10 rock track right here. This song's fucking incredible. It's actually incredible. And then we get, you know, songs like Be With You on the new album, and I'm just like, where has all of that, like, creativity, all of that, like, attention to detail, that, like, restraint in a way that actually feels like it's additive rather than reductive? It feels like we've lost all of that, man. Hexagons up next.
With severed strings, reach out, touch me, and love revealed our failed rebellion.
I literally spend the rest of the song sat in dead silence because it's that fucking boring and I have nothing to talk about. Here in the background is me listening in like a million times speed, bro. This song was so... It's so flat. This entire build is just bullshit. Well, that's it. Could this possibly lead to a transition? It leads to fucking truck month music. Okay, great. A transition from slop into even bigger slop. I'm feeling like a high 3 to a flat 4 on that. That was whatever, man. Whatever. That track just kind of, yeah, it just kind of feels like this track lacks any of that actual tangible emotion. Everything feels like it's so theatric. He's a marionette without any strings, and he's presenting it in a way that is so just over the top to the point where it's so disconnected. This shit is so fucking disconnected, man. I cannot find a shred of actual tangible emotion in any line, in any vocal delivery. This shit is just so fucking flat. musically, it's fine. Musically, whatever, man. I don't give a fuck. Like, this is just basic space rock shit. Doing impressive enough arpeggiating riffs and some drum patterns that kind of caught my attention once or twice. Whatever. Besides that, this album has about as much substance as a fucking cube of spam. I have nothing to say about that track outside of it just being flat. The Sickness in You and I. Truck month music, basically.
Can't break, we're magnetized. The sickness in you and I.
He needs to fuck off with this random falsetto bullshit. He needs to stop. He needs to fucking stop. Oh my god, it's so aggravating every time he does it, dude. I'm at the point now where the album's actually starting to piss me off.
Can't break, we're magnetized. Too late to kill the high. The sickness in you and I. Constellations crash, sky has so.
This is some of the worst genre blending I've heard this year. This is like actually the worst song so far. Like I'm not joking. This is some of the weakest genre blending I have heard so far this year. This is absolutely unforgivably incompetent dogshit genre blending right here. I cannot believe how bad this sounds. I'm losing my fucking mind. I went into this album like not expecting to love it. I went into this album not expecting to love it, okay? My expectations were tempered going in. I thought, you know what? I'm probably going to pull out a couple tracks that I enjoy. Probably going to pull out a couple of songs that I come back to, and the rest of it probably just isn't going to be for me because I'm not the biggest Muse guy. This is fucking shocking. I genuinely am in disbelief that this is such an incompetently put together track in a sea of lazy, tacky blends on other songs already. Oh my god, this is bad. That's like 2 bad transitions in a row. That's the worst song on the album. That's like a high 0. That's some of the worst, like most tacky genre blending I have heard all this year. That has some of the most genuinely fucking aggravating vocal melodies I have heard, and some of the most just some of the vocal inflections that piss me off the most on any track I've heard this year as well. The way Matt Bellamy very quietly does those fucking falsetto notes when he's saying free, it makes my fucking skin crawl. That song is one of the most shockingly bad tracks I have heard this year. I cannot believe this album is as bad as it is. Holy shit. This is a miserable listen. Unravelling.
An insect trapped in amber, I'm fading pools.
Eurovision type shit. I can actually see that. That's crazy. I don't hate Muse. Again, I've stated this a couple times throughout this video, and I'm going to say it again now. I don't hate Muse. Okay? Muse have multiple tracks and an entire album that I think are great. I think that Muse are capable of creating actually great rock music. Muse are a band that I respect so much, and that is why I'm so disappointed by this. I'm not like sitting here going into it like, oh, I've decided I'm gonna hate this, oh look at that, I hate it. I'm going into this like, Muse is a band I can respect. I'm hoping to be won back over into their camp, and I'm disappointed. This is not me sitting here just blindly being like, oh, it has the Muse name attached to it, therefore it must be bad. It's me sitting here being like, man, I know this band is capable of creating shit that's so much more interesting than this, and they're just not. They're just not. The biggest sin that song committed was being boring as fuck. Flat 3. Yeah, that track just kind of didn't really say much and felt like it didn't have enough of a payoff to really even feel like the track went anywhere. You know, it kind of feel like we just stayed within the same realm the entire way throughout the song and didn't it just, I don't know, it just didn't feel like the statement it was making actually had any sense of impact, because again, these songs just aren't going anywhere. They're not doing anything interesting with the fucking musical palette that they're trying to present. This is pretty good for modern Muse. Like, if I compare it to the stuff I've heard off of Will of the People, I have heard Will of the People in full. Technically, I have heard that album in full, and especially the stuff I've heard off of Simulation Theory. This is better, marginally. This is better, but it still is not good. It's not good, in my opinion. It's not good. I don't want to make statements that sound so like matter of fact, because this album is well received so far. The fans are eating this shit up. People on Album of the Year seem to be very surprised by this album's quality. And honestly, for the people that are enjoying this, I'm very glad that this has found its audience, because I can see the appeal. I can see it so clearly, and I'm glad that it does have an audience. But my God, for me, this shit is just mega penis music, dude. You've lost all credibility as a critic. I'm not a critic. I'm just a guy who likes talking about music, man. I want to listen, for the people watching this video, I'm going to explain what the purpose of music reaction content is. I am not a critic. I am not someone who is going to sit here and try and, you know, sway the way you think. I'm not someone who's going to sit here and try and change the narrative or discourse around an album or try and cause a big stir. I just want to have a conversation about music. Even if I'm hating the album and you love it, that's good. That means it provides interesting conversation. That means that those differing opinions mean there's going to be like interesting arguments back and forth, arguing your points of why you like it, why you don't like it. There's going to be interesting points being made of differing perspectives. I love it when an album, as well, I polarize it. When there's an album like this that lots of people really enjoy that I don't enjoy, or that I enjoy that lots of people really don't enjoy, I love that, because that means I get to have an interesting conversation of people who have differing perspectives and wildly differing opinions than myself. It is a good thing that I am not someone who will just stand on my opinions all the time and sit here and say like, oh, I'm right and you're wrong. It's a good thing that we think differently about music. Any Muse fans watching this, if you like this album, good. That's really good. I am very glad that's the case. I do not view you as lesser. I don't view your music taste as any worse than mine. I have albums that people hear I enjoy and they go, really? Like fucking Folie à Deux by Fall Out Boy being a top 10 album for me. Trench by 21 Pilots being a top 5 album for me. People hear that and they roll their eyes, are like, oh, okay. You know, your taste is no worse than mine if you like this album. Your taste is no worse than mine if you like any album that's, you know, not like a Tom McDonald Falling in Reverse type album, you know? The static sound you were hearing there was noise coming from my phone being too close to the mic, which apparently is a thing that can create static in the mic. I didn't know that was a thing. That's never happened to me before, but according to my chat, that is a thing that can happen. I never ever want this channel to be a place where people feel as if they cannot express their opinions without being judged. I want to have a conversation with you, no matter what your opinion on whatever the fuck I'm listening to is. That's what makes this interesting. What about Morning Glory? If you like Morning Glory, great. I think that album fucking sucks dick, but if you love Morning Glory, good. Folie à Deux Appreciation, incredibly underrated. Fall Out Boy, exactly. Listen, listen, people who are in my request streams are going to be sick and tired of me saying this. That Under the Cork Tree to Folie à Deux 3-album run, one of the best 3-album runs in music history, in my opinion. It is. It's so good. I could listen to those 3 albums back to back. There's not a single second where I'm going to be bored. Even on like my least favorite song on any of those 3 albums, which would maybe be like, I don't know, one of the lesser tracks on Infinity on High, I'm never going to be bored. Anyway, next we have Hush featuring fucking Ellie Goulding, of all people. Yeah. It's nice to see them tackling some different lyrical content, even if I don't like the writing myself. This is the first feature on a Muse album.
It's getting too loud, don't let it drown inside. It's coming closer, be still, be slower, show some composure, forget the world together.
I'm going to say something that's going to shock some people here. I actually think that this feature kind of works. She's actually matching the tone of this song better than Matt Bellamy is right now, or Bellamy, however the fuck you say it. It's Bellamy, isn't it? Is it or is it Bellamy? There's no way it's Bellamy. I'm going to continue to say Matt Bellamy regardless of what it is. She's matching the tone of this track better than Matt Bellamy. Like, way better. I actually really like her vocal presence so far. The vocal production is pretty bad. She's a little too close to the mic and a little bit too loud in the mix, but these are some good vocals. I believe it's Bellamy. I'm a fucking genius. I'm a genius. Backlash from this reaction is going to be so bad, I'm going to need to an Origin of Symmetry reaction. I don't think so. I feel like anybody who's reasonable is going to hear me, like, explaining myself and is going to understand. Listen, look, there are going to be people who watch this video and are going to just hate me by default for not liking this album. That is how a stan base works. Every artist works that way. I've had people hate me for when I gave Abbey Road by the Beatles a 9.4 out of 10. I gave Abbey Road a 9.4 and people were like, oh, it's clear that you're too stupid to understand this music. No matter what I do, I can't win with certain people, okay? Unless I give the album a 10, there's gonna be someone who's upset with me. And that's fine. I mean, some people just don't want to hear other people's opinions. They want other people to celebrate the music the same way they do. That's fine. I don't care. I feel like anybody who's reasonable is going to hear me explaining myself, explaining that I just want to converse about the music. Even though I haven't enjoyed this album, I just want to have a conversation about it. And I feel like anybody who's reasonable is going to be able to understand that I'm not trying to convince you to dislike this album. I'm not telling you this is an objectively bad album, because there's kind of no such thing besides stuff that's actively harmful towards, like, certain groups of people, you know? Unless some shit that's, like, actually trying to be offensive, trying to, like, attack people in certain ways. Like, I don't think there's such a thing as objectively bad music, especially with, like, I don't know, a band as successful as Muse, a band that, like, I believe have created legit mic noise again. Wait, what the fuck? Put phone away from mic. My phone, that's usually the issue. My phone isn't near them. My phone's, like, all the way over here on the table where it usually is. I'll put it on the floor. I'll put it on the floor just in case. Hush has the first positive that I'm like gonna be able to give the album since, well, like, fucking Cryogen probably. I think that Hush actually has a pretty great Ellie Goulding feature. I think that she matches the tone of that track beautifully. Genuinely, I think that Ellie Goulding's vocal presence on that song is such a nice breath of fresh air, and the way that she plays off Matt Bellamy and outshines Matt Bellamy there. Just a great pick for a feature. One of the most surprising moments on this album is how good of a feature that was. Besides that, that track was about as interesting as an empty cardboard box. I'm feeling a solid 4 on that one. I didn't get much, again, lyrically, emotionally out of that track. It felt like, sonically, again, it just feels like the album is so afraid to let itself really spread its wings and explore the sounds that it's going for, man. It just feels so stagnant. And I really wish that this album would just let loose a little bit more, man. It just feels so contained. Anyway, final track, Space Debris. 9/11 deniers hacking the stream, exactly.
I can't fill the void when all beats slow. Love like this can't age with grace. All beats slow like space debris.
It's actually kind of beautiful. Oh, did we get taken down? Oh, unlucky. Alright, we're back. Fucking the different Matt variations. Matt Birmingham, Matt Pat, Matt Bible, Matt Barbecue. Fucking Matt BBW is probably the most fire one of the bunch. Anyway, chat, what I'm gonna do, because there's only 40 seconds of the song left, I'm gonna mute it on your guys' end, and I'm gonna finish it myself. Because I cannot be asked to set up a new stream just to finish this song. Now we unmute it. Cool. A good closer. Holy shit, that was actually kind of beautiful. I'm feeling a high 7 on that. Best song on the album. Genuinely best song on the album. That was a really, actually quite powerful statement to close this. Maybe dragged a little bit in a couple spots. This did not need to be a 5.5 minute cut at all. This could have been a 1.5 minutes shorter, realistically speaking. But I feel like the emotions here actually are so much more like realistic and tangible because Matt Bellamy puts across a performance and provides lyrics that actually feel genuine, that actually feel like they're not trying to impress the listener, but more so like they are trying to make an active connection with you and put you into his headspace. The rest of the album has felt like it's just kind of been trying to create an aesthetic more so than actually create like an emotional, like I guess environment to sit in. This feels like it's the first song that's actually done that. It feels like it's the first song that has actually like hit the nail on the head aesthetically, but also actually made an effort to have the listener actually understand the emotion and make it feel like it's coming through in real time on this track. I was very impressed with this. This is an excellent way to end this album, especially in comparison with all of the other shit on here. The album didn't have much vocal flexing. They used to do that more. I mean, there were a couple of annoying moments where like Matt Bellamy did some goofy vocal shit with like random ass falsettos out of nowhere that felt a little flexy, but besides that, like, yeah, I do agree. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was The Wow Signal by Muse. This album, it's not good, but it could be worse. I left this album more so disappointed than anything. I didn't leave this album, you know, feeling like it was the worst thing I've listened to. It's not the worst album of the year, but it is bad. I do think this album is bad. It's consistently uninteresting in its genre blending. It's consistently at an arm's length emotionally. It consistently lacks the ability to engage the listener in any of the lyrical content. It feels like the electronics are half-assedly forced in throughout the majority of these tracks. And some of the stronger moments besides the closer, particularly a track like Cryogen, need to do some stupid, goofy bullshit to make the track feel more impressive and theatric. And it absolutely just kills the tone of that track. Multiple songs on here that I found to be genuinely flat out horrible. Like, actually fucking horrible. Particularly, you get a song like The Sickness in You and I, one of the worst songs I've heard this year. Both Unravelling and Nightshift Superstar were like jaw-droppingly terrible in terms of their ability to either make a connection or, you know, Nightshift Superstar doing that goofy disco bullshit, which, you know, there are ideas here that I feel like could have been executed well, like Muse doing a disco influence, like Justice adjacent track. That could work. I feel like Muse could actually make that, you know, interesting with some like added heaviness into the mix, Matt Bellamy's grandeur and his vocals and his lyricism, but then it just falls flat on its face because the band don't feel like they're actually doing anything that's additive to that sound. Again, I could apply that to a song like, I think it was Be With You, where it just feels like it's chasing a trend that's long gone and it isn't adding anything onto it to draw me in, to make me feel invested in that sound. And it's disappointing because there is potential for a really good album here, as proven by the majority of Cryogen, as proven by Space Debris, as proven by even moments on the opener, The Dark Forest as well. There are moments here where I'm like, oh my god, I can see how they can make this sound work, and there are multiple moments where I'm like, holy shit, that's it. That's what this album should be. But then they just half-ass too many things. The bold swings they do take do not hit, unfortunately. And while I agree with this, I have heard Muse do much worse. For me personally, this album still does not hit the mark. I'm feeling a 3.9 out of 10 on this album. Yeah, this album, it was not for me. It was not for me. But listen, I know I'm in the minority when it comes to that stance. Like, if I look at the page here, shit's got, like, you know, rounded down a 77, and that score has gone down from a 79. It will likely wind up in the low 70s, but still, that's a positive score. That's a positive score when all is said and done. People are enjoying this album. It's finding its target audience. The Muse fans seem to be eating this shit up way more than Will of the People and Simulation Theory and stuff like that. So, you know what? The people who like this album are liking it. It's got generally positive reception. The album just wasn't for me, and that's fine. Not every album that gets praised widely is going to be my cup of tea, and this is an example of that. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of this album down below and how it compares to other Muse albums for you. Let me know if you'd like to see me go through the rest of the Muse discography. Again, the only album I've properly listened to in full of theirs so far is Origin of Symmetry, so I would be super down to go back and listen to, like, Absolution and Black Holes, and eventually even get to their more divisive stuff like Simulation Theory and Drones and Will of the People as well. So yeah, definitely do let me know if you'd like to see more Muse content on this channel down below. Like and sub if you haven't. We are on our way to 5K. Links in the description to my Discord, my Album of the Year, my Twitter, my other channels, and my Instagram. Check those out if you haven't. I will see you all whenever I next stream or upload. Bye bye.